Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannons, where you can sign up to be a member of the Shannons Club, your local Holden certified service centre, Pace Farm the enjoyable egg, and Heron Forbes Machinery House, where you can buy online.
G'day, I'm Fletch and welcome to the show as I bring you to the beautiful Mudgee region of New South Wales. And yes, we have a guy with a shed, and you're about to see it in this week's Classic Restos on the road. This is a very nice part of regional New South Wales to visit. In fact, Mudgee has been recently voted as a very high tourist destination priority, and it's easy to see why.
And when you're out here, just think a little rustic charm, endless vineyards that provide us delectable wine, rolling green hills, exquisite food, and much more. It's home to over 12,500 clean air inducting people. It's not a city lifestyle out here, offering the discerning traveller a chance to reset their senses and a taste of what country life might be like. Just 268 kilometres northwest of Sydney, it's a no-brainer for a roadie. The Mudgee region exudes country charm, yet offers sophisticated food, heritage and year-round event experiences.
I've got a soft spot for this area around here. Back in 1985, I had a 25-acre hobby farm just 40 kilometres from Mudgee. It's also the area from which my grandparents on my mother's side, the Mansfields and the Greens, used to live from the late 1800s into the early 1900s. Okay, the family stuff aside as we move on into today's show. Found this guy, Terry Ingram. Got a few sheds. Thought I'd knock on the door and let's have a look and see what Terry has inside. Welcome to the show, Terry.
Thank you, Fletch.
Mate, this is great. I love a property that's full of sheds.
I thought you were going to say something else.
No, not at all. No, full of sheds. You've got to admire a man whose shed space far outweighs that of his house.
I'll go along with that.
Yeah, I thought you might.
Sticks out.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you enjoy living here? Good spot?
I do. I love it, Fletch, yeah.
It's gorgeous, isn't it?
It is.
Peace and quiet.
It is, yeah. That's why we're here.
Yeah. Our first car in Shed 1, 1950 Riley. Pretty rare sort of a car. The Rileys are strong with their clubs, and there's quite a bit of interest still for the Riley, isn't there?
Yeah, that's my word, yeah. More than I ever thought. There's a Riley Car Club in Sydney, and they're very well organised. Haven't met any of the guys face to face, but I've spoke to quite a few on the phone.
Yep.
And they couldn't be more helpful.
Yeah.
And
That's good, isn't it?
They love their Rileys.
That's the thing about these car clubs. There's always somebody there that can give you that advice. They've turned every nut and bolt on the car. They know what they're talking about. That's one good thing about car clubs. Speaking of which, check out the Shannons Club too. 4 car clubs. They've got a whole list of car clubs there. And if you're watching and you're in the Riley Club, I'm sure you'd be there. But if you're not, you should put on the Shannons Club for all the world to see. It's a great directory to showcase what car clubs that we have, bikes, trucks, what have you. Now this car behind us, 1950, 1952, what's the confusion element there, Terry?
The confusion element is that, I don't really know the history of the car, but the people I purchased it from, they bought it as a 1952. There's paperwork there to say that it's a 1952. It's registered as a 1952. But when I phoned Riley in Sydney, chasing some manifold studs and gaskets, they wanted the serial number, the VIN number, in which I gave them, and they come back and said, no, it's not a 52, it's a 1950.
Okay.
So, yeah.
But it's 52 on the rego paper.
52 on the rego paper?
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
Yep.
Interesting. Speaking of which, too, you're halfway through a job here. You got one of the manifolds off. What happened there?
The whole reason why I was able to purchase the car, because it was broken down with a water leak, and the poor chap that owned it had no idea what he was doing, and he sort of, instead of fixing the car, he sort of done more damage.
It looks like it's in a real crook spot inside that port there in that jacket.
It's a stripped thread and a piece broken out of the head, but we're on the way. We're going to repair it.
It's a bit of that's a challenge for you, Terry.
Will be a challenge. I never let anything beat me.
No, it's a good way to be too. You can't let it beat you because it's sitting here and you've got to get it running.
Yes.
So, if you just park it up and put a tarp over it, well, that's not going to achieve anything. So, you'll get there. Okay, so this car, interesting in the day, 4-speed box. Riley's well known for their 4-speed gearboxes. Not a bad box. Some of the SoCal racers behind the Ford side valve V8s used to run a 4-speed Riley box. So, they've got a little accolade there. Interesting too, just with a bit of research, these cars were 100 horsepower back in the day too. 2.5 litre overhead cam, and of course, being British, SU carburetor. Twin SUs, right?
Twin SUs,
yep. The POMs. So with the POMs and SUs, they put SUs on everything, didn't they?
I know they did.
Their bloody lawnmowers probably came with an SU. So, but anyway, they worked. Well, they worked over there, and that's what this car had stock standard. So, twin carbies, twin overhead cam, quite advanced mechanics when we're talking 1950.
Well advanced, I think. Yeah.
Also, with the British, big on their timber dash work. The timber, and later on the veneers, but the timber across their dash. This here, 100% original car too, which is nice. They're only original once. It's a sort of interior here where, if you did refurbish it, you'd lose that old class look that you've got at the moment.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, have a go at the leather seats. Now, if that doesn't take you back to the interior of a red Rattler train, nothing will. That leather, the original leather, Terry.
That makes it. That makes the car.
Doesn't it? Yeah. What do you want to do with the door cards?
I think I want to renew them. I'm going to hand make them myself. And, they've been wet. And the back ones are okay, but the two front ones, no, I'm not happy with. Yeah. And I'd like to see them better. Yeah. So I'm going to make them better.
Yeah, good on you. And you'll leave the seats alone, right?
I'm going to let the seats just look too good.
Leave them be, yeah. Just that original, the way that they've cracked and it's just in time. It's set in stone almost, isn't it?
The springs are all good. They're comfortable to sit in. They move back and forwards.
Terry's also lucky enough to have a pit here in his workshop. He's also done a fantastic job of reversing the Riley over it. He's kept just enough of the tyre on the correct side of the pit. He's done well. After the break, we'll be back here at Terry's place just out of Mudgee in New South Wales with a delightfully restored truck. What year is that one?
36.
A 1936 truck. We'll be back soon.
When I was a kid, I loved cars. Still do. The 57 Cadillac Eldorado Brougham was the most advanced car in the world. Cost more than a Rolls. Hand-built with a stainless steel roof, cruise control, electric seats, and would you believe, air suspension. American iron. It's a passion Shannons understand. That's why they insure my daily drive, the caddy, my bike, even the house.
Call Shannons on 13 46 46. Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts.
When it comes to cars, there are some brands that will remain with us forever, no matter what. The Holden was always Australia's own car, held high in the hearts of many. Those lines, that chrome, the stories around them, and the people that owned them. From the classic through to the final, you can still trust in genuine Holden and AC Delco parts, available through the Holden Certified Service Network. Welcome back. Terry's having fun, aren't you, mate?
I sure am.
You are. You weren't expecting this, were you?
I wasn't.
No,
Definitely not.
neither was I. Incredible. Now this truck behind us, a 1936 Maple Leaf. Now we've seen these in the past in paddocks. These trucks, beautiful trucks. I've got a question for you. As nice as this truck looked, back in the day when it was brand new, would they have looked this good?
Unfortunately, no.
No?
No. No, I do have a couple of photographs of it when it was fairly new.
Yep. Okay, tell us, why were they different when they were new to now?
Well, apparently no hood lining,
Yep.
no door cards. Yeah, and the paintwork, yeah.
We can see that this truck has been meticulously restored. How long did it take you?
5 years.
Oh, wow. So 5-year build, and what was it like when you got her?
It was very dilapidated.
Bit of a basket case, yep.
It was. There's like a shed had collapsed on the roof, and the roof was sort of pushed down to the seat level anyway.
It's amazing to hear about the damage, abnormal damage. You know, this one here, a shed collapsed on it. You know, they run into walls, or you find them in a creek bed and you pull them out, or so.
Some of the parts on this come out of a creek bed.
Unbelievable, yeah. And where did it spend its time mostly?
Virtually its entire life in the Lungaloo. That's 20 odd k's the other side of Parks.
I'm glad you told me that.
Yep.
Because I wouldn't have known where she can go to the loo. I wouldn't have known where that is, you know.
Yeah,
So
and it was the only truck in the area that this farmer
around Parks.
And the wheat silos were just up the road. So this used to pick up all the bags of wheat for all the farmers, take down the silos.
Yeah.
And then when it was time to go into town, load into the railway, this truck carted it all into town.
Yeah. Now this truck here, a 2.5 tonne truck, Terry?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And what powers it? We've got it's a Chevrolet 6, right?
It is. Yeah, it's 6 4-speed.
Yeah.
It's not very powerful, and it's not very fast, which you're going to find out.
I know, but they were never meant to be, though. They were just meant to carry their tonne and a half, a couple of tonne from A to B, back in the time when freight got there when it got there. Yeah.
But it was mainly it was built for a troop carrier.
Right. Okay.
That's what it was built for.
So
that's why only 2.5 tonnes.
So probably 40 mile an hour flat out.
37 mile per hour.
37. Yeah.
Flat out.
Yeah, 3 miles an hour out. Can you believe that? 3. Well, I love what you've done here. The paint's beautiful. The bright work around the grille looks absolutely stunning. Even the truck driving into the shed here. See, I get excited about stuff like this because it's been saved.
Yeah.
Because many hundreds weren't.
Oh, no.
This has been saved and it's been preserved. And hey, that's what it's all about, isn't it?
That's what it's all about, yep.
Yeah, I love the interior, the big bench seat, how you've got the dashboard painted beautiful as well, same colour as the exterior. And as you said, it's got a hood lining as well. So you've gone that extra mile just to give it just a few more features.
Yeah.
Now, timber work in the back, in the tray, what sort of wood is that? It looks beautiful.
All the runners and all the stays, the headboard and that, are Oregon.
Yep.
And they came out of a mill that got burnt down in town here.
Yep.
And they were huge beams, about 18 inches by 18 inches, if not a little bit bigger.
Wow, yeah.
The floor, cypress pine, that came out of the Mendoran sawmill. Back in my younger days, first vehicle I ever drove was the 1936 Chev, and that was what I learnt to drive in, owned by my uncle. With this particular Maple Leaf here, a really good friend of mine that I went fishing with for probably 20 odd years or more, kept on asking me, did I want a KB6? And I kept on saying, no, I don't want a KB6, Bob. I don't really like internationals that much. Anyway, the time came that this Maple Leaf had to go out of this fallen down shed. So, and I just was in Parks and I bumped into my mate Bob. He said, you must want that KB6. I said, Bob, no. He said, well, how about coming and having a look at it? I said, okay, I'll do that. Walking up to the shed and it's dilapidated, fallen down, and underneath I could see some wheels and some doors, and I thought, this is not good, this is not good. Anyway, the closer I looked, I said, Bob, I'm sorry, that's not a KB6. Oh, yes, it is. I said, no, Bob, that's a maple leaf. And a maple leaf? Yeah, maple leaf, yeah. He said, maple leaf, KB6 maple leaf. I said, no, Bob, no such thing. So he said, you're going to take the truck or not? I checked it out, it had all the badges, it had, everything was there to put it all back together. So yeah, that was why I hence couldn't get back there quick enough to get it back to Mudgee.
Well, good on you, Terry. Well, it's not every day we get to see a restored maple leaf truck. Hang around, because after the break we'll be back, because next cab off the rank here today at Terry's, we've got a nice Holden that we'll share with you. So be with you in just a moment.
Like Dad, I've always been a Ford man. The Falcon Squire wagon was unloved in 1964, but turns heads today. The Americans call them woodies, but the panelling, it's just fiberglass and plastic. But it's a passion that Shannons understands, which is why my Fords are insured with Shannons. And now, so's the home.
Call Shannons on 13 46 46. Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts.
They may not be making the classic Holden anymore, but the legacy lives on. You can still have a Holden certified service using genuine Holden and AC Delco quality parts at over 180 centres across Australia. Go to holden.com.au to find your nearest centre. Book your Holden in, maintain the pride. And of course, if you own a classic bike, a classic car or a classic truck, it just has to be insured with Shannons. Why not pick up the phone and give Shannons a call for a quote and a chat to discuss the many products on offer to you to find the one that may suit you best. And signing up to become a member of the Shannons Club has never been easier. For more information, visit shannons.com.au. Welcome back. Yes, and as the day progresses, Terry just lounges a little more. This time, across the bonnet of an absolutely gorgeous 1964 EH Holden. Terry, where did you find this?
I found this hidden in a garage in Mudgee, owned by a little old gentleman by the name of David Drew, who had his licence taken away from him because of his old age.
Oh, bless his heart. And how long had he had the car?
He had the car from when it was around, it was under 15 months old.
Oh, wow.
Up until 2 years ago or not.
So you're almost the second owner. But
I'm almost the second owner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Third, fourth if you include General Motors holders.
Oh, well, yeah.
But yeah.
So
at the end of the day, though, no matter what we say, this car hasn't had a lot of owners, which is fantastic.
It is. Yeah, I believe it's had not a hard life mechanical-wise. It's been serviced well and all that.
Yep.
But the old chap owned it. He had a bit of trouble with his narrow driveway and brick walls and gate posts.
Yeah, he got to the stage in life where he used to park by nudge.
He did.
Yeah, I know. Well, look, the best cars are the ones that have had very few owners, and you're in that category. What a beautiful car. We've got a brilliant example here of a 64 EH, one of Holden's best sellers back in the day. Easy to see why. We've had a stack of them on classic Restos. Over around about 250,000 of these cars were built back in the day in '64. Revolutionary too. The first of the red engine, stepping up from the EJ, the last of the grey. Yep. A few dynamic styling changes as well, made the car a little bit lower. They really were a great Holden, the EH. We've got original upholstery here inside this car, yes. Unmolested, untouched, not torn. It's in fantastic condition. So the time you've had this car, what have you had to do to it?
Very little. Mechanical wise, nothing. Yeah.
Now, to match this car, you've got a caravan. You've done something with the caravan, someone told me.
I have. I've wrecked it.
You've wrecked it?
I gutted it.
Oh, to make it into something better, I hope.
Into a coffee van.
Into a coffee van. You're going to tow it behind this car?
I'll tow it behind this car.
So where's the van?
In the next shed.
All right. Well, I think we better go and have a look at that. Well, here we are in the van. What year model is it, Terry?
1961.
61? Wow, I love what you've done here. And the lighting in here. You're a clever bloke.
I don't know about that, but anyway.
There you go. You've retired from truck driving. Look at the stuff you've got up to.
Yeah, played up.
Yeah. You're loving every minute of it, aren't you?
Yeah, well, as you
So
can see.
tell us, what's the deal? What are you going to do with the van?
Well, strictly for our club use, and that's all it's been used for.
Yep.
And we've done one retro show,
Yep.
and that's it, yeah.
Good on you.
So
This is going to go behind the EH.
behind the EH, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How
Been
cool
be-
is
it's
that?
been behind the EH the last 3 trips into town, yep.
That's great.
Well,
That's
it
re-
is, yeah.
Now, your car club, give it a plug. Tell us about your car club.
It's the Gudgee Valley Pioneer Vehicle Club. I just happen to be the treasurer. We have a really good, strong committee at the moment, which is good. We've got, I think we're on about 130 financial members at the moment.
That's
Yeah.
great. Well, I love what you've done. Behind, I could just picture it behind the EH. Must really look fantastic.
It does,
you know,
people
got
love it, yeah.
a 64 car, a 61 van.
People love it.
Oh, what an era back in time, hey? Yeah. All right, Terry, we've ran out of time for the episode. On this note, I want to thank you so much for your time today. The invitation for Classic Restos in around your sheds, and he's got a little bit more stuff here, but we kind of took a few highlights today, and I hope you enjoyed yourself.
I have done, Fletch.
Yeah?
Thank you.
Good on you, mate. All right.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Terry.
thank you.
And good on you for keeping the dream alive, mate.
It means a hell of a lot to me. It brings back memories from my younger days when I did own an EH ute, a manual with a 149 for around about 12 to 13 years. That was my work vehicle, and my younger brother, he was lucky enough to buy a 1964 EH when they were new. He didn't like the car very much, but then again, he wasn't a car lover like me. I probably drove that car more than he did. And I just think that the EHs are probably one of the better Holdens made, although I think they were all pretty good. I don't think they made a bad one, really. And yeah, I just like the EH Holden. I never thought that I would see the day that an EH Holden or a lot of other older vehicles held their value so much. After owning what I did own, I gave away cars that were very, very valuable, and I gave them away because I had nowhere to store them. And I wish now that I had kept them. I do think that the EH is a really good shape. I think the seating position's good, the driving position's good for that era, and I think, the Holden's really done it well and done Australia proud.
Well, our country folk in our regional areas, they never fail us, do they? Always happy to show us what they have. And isn't it nice that there's always something different to showcase? On today's show, Terry and Rosalina welcomed us. 3 classic vehicles, 4 including the caravan. I hope you enjoyed it. Until next week, no matter where you're watching Classic Restos from, please ride and drive safe. I'm Fletch, and I thank you very much for watching.
You can like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/ClassicRestosTV and watch catch-up episodes at shannons.com.au. Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannons, where you can sign up to be a member of the Shannons Club, your local Holden certified service centre, Pace Farm the enjoyable egg, and Heron Forbes Machinery House, where you can buy online.